Captain Hai-Kim pressed her palm against the cold metal of the bridge window, watching the bright fireworks explode across Earth's sky. After 15 long years of war, humanity had finally won. The hegemony was defeated. Millions of soldiers could go home to their families. "We did it," she whispered to herself, but the words felt hollow. Too many friends had died in this war. Too many good people never made it home. Behind her, the bridge crew celebrated quietly. They had earned this moment. The TSS Retribution had fought in every major battle of the war. Her crew had seen horrors that would haunt them forever, but they had survived. Jin Park, her young analyst, sat hunched over his computer terminal in the corner. While everyone else celebrated, he was still working through classified files from the war. That boy never knew when to stop. Captain Jin called out suddenly. His voice sounded strange, worried. "You need to see this transmission log." Hai walked over to his station. The celebration noise around them seemed to fade away. Jin's face was pale, his hands shaking slightly as he pointed at the screen. "What is it?" she asked. "These are communication records from the Battle of Kepler Station. Remember that one? We lost 3 ships because the enemy knew exactly where we would be." Hai remembered. It was supposed to be a surprise attack, but the hegemony forces were waiting for them. They had called it bad luck at the time. "Look at this," Jin said, pulling up encrypted data. "Someone sent our battle plans to the enemy 2 days before the attack." The blood drained from Hai's face. "That's impossible. Only our senior officers knew those plans." "That's what makes it worse," Jin said quietly. "The transmission came from inside our own fleet, from one of our own ships." Hai stared at the screen. The numbers and codes didn't lie. Someone with high level access had sold out their own people. Human officers had betrayed their own species for money. "How many battles?" she asked. Jin's fingers flew across the keyboard. More files appeared on screen. "I found similar transmissions before 12. Major battles. Every time we lost ships, every time the enemy was ready for us, someone was warning them." The fireworks outside suddenly seemed wrong. All those celebrations, all those speeches about victory and honor. How many soldiers had died because of traitors in their own ranks? "Captain," Jin said softly, "some of these transmissions are still active. Whoever did this, they're still out there." Hai felt anger burning in her chest. The war was over, but the real fight was just beginning. These traitors had blood on their hands. It cost humanity thousands of lives and years of suffering. "Gather everything," she ordered. "Every file, every transmission, every piece of evidence. We're going to find these people." "What then?" Jin asked. Hai looked back. At the fireworks, then at her crew, who were still celebrating their victory. They deserved to know the truth. Humanity deserved justice. "Then we hunt them down," she said. "Every last one." Jin Park hadn't slept in 3 days. Empty coffee cups covered his desk, and his eyes burned from staring at computer screens. But he couldn't stop. Every new file he opened revealed another betrayal, another group of soldiers who had died because of traitors. "Jin, you need to rest," said Na Cho, walking into the investigation room. She was the best intelligence officer on the ship, with sharp eyes that missed nothing. "You're going to make yourself sick." "I can't stop now," Jin replied, pointing at the wall covered in photos and documents. "Look at this mess, the betrayals. Go back years, maybe to the very start of the war." Na studied the evidence wall, read strings-connected photos of battles, ship movements, and casualty reports. It looked like a madman's work, but Jin's research was always perfect.
"Show me what?"
"You found?" she said. Jin pulled up a file on his main screen. "Remember the Battle of Titan's Gate? We sent a relief convoy to help the Cathara defend their homeworld. The enemy was waiting for them. I remember we lost 40 ships that day. Someone sold the convoy's route to the hegemony for 2 million. "Credits," Jin said, his voice getting angry. 40 ships. 800 crew members. All dead because someone wanted money. The door opened, and Veltar entered. The Cathara was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and large eyes that seemed to see everything. During the war, his people had fought beside humans, losing entire cities to defend the galaxy from the hegemony. "You called for me?" Veltar asked. In his careful English, We need to show you something, Na. Said it's about your people. Jin pulled up another file. The attack on your colony world, Kithara Prime, the one where your family, ... He stopped, seeing the pain in Veltar's eyes. Go on, the alien said quietly. The enemy knew exactly where your defense systems were. They knew which buildings held civilians. Someone gave them detailed maps of your cities. Veltar's hands clenched into fists. You're saying humans betrayed my people? It's not all humans, Na said quickly. But yes, some of our own people sold information that led to the massacre of your families. The room fell silent. Jin watched Veltar process this information. The Kithara had lost his mate and children in that attack. He had every right to hate all humans now. How many species were betrayed? Veltar asked finally. Jin looked at his research. All of them. Every species that fought with us. The Zalani, the Mortex, the Praxians. Someone sold out battle plans. That got their soldiers killed too. This isn't just about money, Na realized. This is bigger. Someone wanted to weaken everyone, not just help the enemy win. The transmissions all trace back to Coalition headquarters, Jin said. This conspiracy reaches the highest levels of our government. Veltar looked at the humans in the room. So what do? We find them? Na said. And we make them pay for every life they cost us. Captain Hai Kim stood before the War Crimes Tribunal, her uniform crisp and her evidence folder thick with damning proof. The three judges, representing different species that had fought in the war, listened as she presented her case. General Taeyun sold battle plans that resulted in the deaths of over 3,000 coalition soldiers, she said, her voice steady. We have the transmission records, the credit transfers, and witness testimony. The lead judge, an elderly Kithara, with scars from the war, nodded slowly. The evidence is clear. You have full authority to pursue and arrest General Yoon. Where is he now? Asked the human judge. Gone, Hai replied. He disappeared the day after the armistice was signed. No forwarding address, no family contact, nothing. 3 weeks later, Hai's team was aboard a modified patrol ship heading toward the Outer Rim territories. These were the wild spaces beyond government control, where criminals and deserters went to disappear. I hate this place, Jin muttered. Looking at the star charts, no laws, no rules, just whoever has the biggest guns. Nacho checked her weapons for the 3rd time. Perfect place for a traitor to hide. Veltar studied the intelligence reports they had gathered. General Yoon was seen on mining station Kepler 7 2 weeks ago. He's been recruiting. Recruiting what? Hai asked. Soldiers. Specifically soldiers with grudges against the coalition. Ere the ship's sensors picked up the mining station ahead. It was a massive structure built into an asteroid with dozens of smaller ships docked around it. Most of them were military vessels that should have been decommissioned after the war. That's a lot of firepower for a mining operation, Jin observed. Hai studied the ships through the viewport. She recognized several of them. Those are deserters' ships. Men who left their posts when the war ended, took their vessels with them. How many do you think he has? Na asked. At least 200 soldiers, maybe more, Veltar said, scanning the station. And they're not miners. I'm reading military-grade weapons and armor. Hai felt a chill run down her spine. He's not running anymore. He's building something. Building what? Jin asked. An army, she replied. The question is, what does he plan to do with it? The communication system crackled to life, unidentified. Vessel, this is Kepler Station. State your business or turn around. Hai looked at her team. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and heading into hostile territory. But they had come too far to turn back now. This is Captain Hai Kim of the Coalition. Fleet, she said into the com. I'm here to arrest General Taeyun for war crimes. Silence filled the channel for a long moment. Then came laughter. Captain Kim, came a familiar voice. This is General Yoon. I've been expecting you. The mining station's weapon systems came online, targeting their ship. Red warning lights flashed. Across the bridge. He's not going to come quietly, Na said, gripping her weapon. Good, Hai replied. I wasn't planning to ask nicely. The airlock hissed open. High's team stepped onto mining station Kepler 7. The corridors were darker than they should be, with half the lights turned off. It felt like walking into a trap. "Stay close," Hai whispered into her cum. "Jin, can you access their security system?" "Working on it," Jin replied, his fingers flying over his portable computer. "I can see their camera feeds. There are armed men everywhere." Nacho moved ahead, her weapon ready. "How many?" "At least 60 that I can count," Jin said. "Maybe more." "In the sections I can't see?" Veltar's alien hearing picked up sounds the humans couldn't detect. "They're moving to surround us. We need to move now." The first shots came from above. Sparks flew from the metal walls as energy blasts barely missed Hai's head. She dove behind a cargo container, her team scattering for cover. "So much for talking." Na shouted over the gunfire. "There." Jin pointed to a maintenance shaft. "We can get to the command center through the ventilation system." "You want us to crawl through air ducts?" Hai asked. "Unless you want to fight through 60 armed men," Jin replied. More shots rang out. The deserters were closing in from both ends of the corridor. Hai made a quick decision. "Lay down covering fire. Veltar, watch our backs. Jin, lead the way." For the next 2 hours, they played a deadly game of cat and mouse through the station's maze of corridors. Hai's team used every trick they had learned during the war. They cut power to sections of the station, forcing the enemy to fight in darkness. They used the station's own mining equipment as weapons, dropping heavy containers to block passages. "Humans are crazy," one of the deserters shouted in the distance. "They just won't give up. That's the point," Hai muttered. Reloading her weapon, they finally cornered General Yoon in the station's command center. The man who had once been a respected coalition officer now looked tired and desperate. His expensive clothes were dirty, and his eyes darted around looking for escape routes. "General Tae," Yoon Hai said, her weapon pointed at him. "You're under arrest for treason and war crimes." Yoon laughed bitterly. "You came all this way for me. You have no idea what's really happening. Explain it to me," Hai said. "I'm the real enemy?" Yoon asked. "I just wanted money. But the people I worked for, they're something else entirely." "What people?" "The Covenant," Yoon said quietly. "They make me look like a saint. What I did was business. What they're planning, it'll make the entire war look like a small fight." Jin stepped forward. "What are you talking about?" "The war was never supposed to end," Yoon said. "The Covenant wanted it to go on forever. They were selling weapons to both sides, making everyone weaker." "Why?" Na demanded. "They could take over when everyone else was too weak to fight back," Yoon replied. "And now that the war is over, they're moving to their next plan, which is," Yoon looked at each of them, "they're going to start a new war. But this time, they'll be the ones in control." Back on their ship, Hai's team worked around the clock to decode the information General Yoon had given them. The files were encrypted, but Jin was the best codebreaker in the Coalition fleet. "This is insane," Jin muttered, staring at his screen. "These aren't just war profiteers, look at this." Pulled up a document titled Human Destiny Protocol. The words made Hai's stomach turn. It talked about humanity's natural right to rule the galaxy, and how other species were inferior obstacles to human greatness. "They actually believe this garbage?" Na asked, reading over Jin's shoulder. Veltar studied the documents with growing anger. "They planned the massacre of my people from the beginning, not for money, but because they wanted to eliminate us." "Look at this timeline," Jin said, pulling up another file. "The Covenant has been operating for over 20 years. They helped start the war in the first place." Hai felt sick. "How?" "They sold weapons to both sides, but they made sure humanity got slightly better technology. They wanted a long war that would weaken everyone else while making humans stronger through combat experience. But we didn't get stronger," Na pointed out. "We lost millions of people. That was part of their plan too," Jin said grimly. "They call it genetic selection. They wanted only the strongest, most aggressive humans to survive." Veltar's alien features showed disgust. "They used my people as target practice to train human soldiers. And the Zilani, and the Mortex, and every other species," Jin added. They've been playing a game with all our lives. Hai paced the small room. What's their endgame? Jin pulled up more files. Total human dominance. They want to eliminate or enslave every non-human species in the galaxy. But the war is over, Na said. How can they do that now? The peace summit, Jin said suddenly, his face going pale. Oh no. The Galactic Accord signing. What about it? Hai asked. Jin's fingers flew across his keyboard, pulling up intercepted communications. Look at these messages. They're not talking about stopping the peace summit. They're talking about using it. Using it how? Every species leader will be in one place, Jin said. The Cathara Prime Minister, the Zilani Council, the Mortek War Chief, everyone who fought alongside us. The realization hit them all at once. Veltar spoke first. They're going to kill them all. And blame it on remaining hegemony forces, Jin added, reading more communications. They'll say it was revenge for losing the war, then humanity will be forced to take control. Hai finished. To maintain order after the massacre, Na slammed her fist on the table. These aren't humans. They're monsters wearing human faces. How long do we have? Hai asked Jin, checked the summit schedule. 3 days. Signing ceremony is in 3 days. Can we warn them? Who would believe us? Veltar asked sadly. Humans telling other species that humans are planning to murder them? Then we stop them ourselves. Hai said firmly. How? We're 4 people against an organization that's been planning this for decades. We're 4 people who know the truth, Hai replied. That has to count for something. Hai's ship raced through space toward the Peace Summit location. Every minute. Counted in 2 days, leaders from across the galaxy would gather to sign the Galactic Accords. The Covenant planned to murder them all. How much longer? Na asked from the weapons station. 6 hours, Jin replied, checking their navigation. We pushed the engines to their limit. Suddenly, warning alarms filled the bridge. 3 massive warships appeared out of hyperspace, blocking their path. Hai's heart sank as she recognized the lead vessel. That's the TSS Overlord, she whispered. Admiral Han's flagship. Veltar checked the scanner readings. They're powering up weapons. All 3 ships. The communication system crackled to life. Captain Kim, this is Admiral Wuhan. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Hai stared at the screen in disbelief. Admiral Han had been her mentor for 10 years. He had taught her everything about military strategy and leadership. She had looked up to him like a father. Admiral, she said into the comm. There's something you need to know about the Peace Summit. I know exactly what's happening at the summit, Han replied. His voice was cold, nothing like the warm teacher she remembered. And I know why you're trying to interfere. You're part of the Covenant, Hai said, the words tasting bitter in her mouth. I am the Covenant, Han said. I founded it 25 years ago when I realized humanity's true potential. Jin looked at Hai with shock. Your mentor is the leader of this whole conspiracy? Han's ships moved closer, surrounding Hai's smaller vessel. Captain Kim, you were one of my best students. I watched you grow from a frightened cadet into a brilliant officer. That's why I'm giving you one chance to join us. Join you in mass murder, Hai asked. Join us in securing humanity's future, Han replied. I made humanity stronger through 15 years of war. Every battle, every loss, every victory made us tougher. I'll finish what I started by killing innocent people, by eliminating the competition, Han said simply. Other species will always hold humanity back. They're weak, emotional, and divided. Only humans have the strength to unite the galaxy under one rule. Na whispered urgently, Captain. Their weapons are fully charged. We need to move now. You have 30 seconds to surrender, Han announced. After that, I'll brand you as traitors and destroy your ship. Hai looked at her team. Jin was terrified, but determined. Na was ready to fight against impossible odds. Velta, despite learning that his mentor's own species wanted to destroy his people, still trusted her completely.
Answer.
Admiral. Hai said into the comm. You taught me to always do what's right, even when it's hard. Jin, emergency jump, she shouted. Where? They're blocking every exit route. Their ship lurched as Jin activated the emergency hyperspace jump. Alarms screamed as they entered the dangerous asteroid field at dangerous speed. Behind them, Han's ships gave chase. All Coalition forces, Han's voice broadcast on all frequencies. Captain Hai Kim and her team are traitors to humanity. Shoot on sight. Their damaged ship limped into the abandoned mining colony on Kepler 9. The asteroid field had saved them from Admiral Han's fleet, but it had also torn apart their engines. They were stranded. How long for repairs? Hai asked Jin as they landed. In the old spaceport? At least 2 days, he replied, checking the damage reports. Maybe longer. We're missing critical parts. The summit is tomorrow, Na said grimly. We're too late. As they stepped out of their ship, armed figures emerged from the shadows around them. Hai raised her hands, expecting more Covenant soldiers. Instead, she saw a mix of species, all wearing worn military gear from different armies. Said a gruff human voice. What do we have here? A stocky man with gray hair and scars covering his arms stepped forward. His uniform was old Coalition military, but the rank insignia had been torn off. Sergeant Binko, 7th Infantry, he said, studying them carefully. Retired, and you're Captain Hai Kim, if I'm not mistaken. How do you know me? Hai asked. Your face is all over the wanted posters, Ben replied. Coalition says you're a traitor. But I know better than to trust everything the Coalition says these days. Behind him stood other veterans. Cathara with burned scars covering half his face. A Zalani woman missing her left arm. A young Mortek male with haunted eyes. All of them looked like they had seen too much war. You're all veterans? Veltar asked. We're all victims, the scarred Cathara said bitterly. Kestar. Lost my whole unit because someone sold our positions to the enemy. The Zalani woman stepped forward. I'm Nira. My ship was supposed to get reinforcements during the Battle of Proxima. Instead, we got an ambush. 40 good soldiers died that day, and I'm Grak, the young Mortek said quietly. My people trusted human intelligence about enemy movements. It was a trap. My brother died in my arms. Binko spat on the ground. We all got betrayed by the same people. Took us a while to figure out it wasn't just bad luck. The Covenant, I said. Exactly. We've been tracking them for months, trying to gather evidence. But they're too powerful. Too connected. Jin pulled out his datapad. We have evidence. Lots of it. For the next few hours, the veterans gathered around as Jin showed them everything they had discovered. The room grew silent as they learned the full scope of the Covenant's plans. They played us all. Nira said quietly. Made us fight harder by making us suffer more. And now they want to finish the job, Kestar added. Binko looked at the mixed group around him. You know what's funny? They wanted to divide us, make us hate each other. Instead, they brought us together. Hai looked around the room. Humans. Kithara, Zalani, Mortek, all sitting together, united by their shared pain and determination for justice. That's it, she said suddenly. That's humanity's real strength. What do you mean? I asked. We don't conquer people, I said. We inspire them. We make friends out of enemies. Our strength isn't in ruling others. It's in standing together. The Peace Summit station sparkled like a jewel against the stars. Hundreds of ships from across the galaxy surrounded it, carrying delegates who would sign the Galactic Accords and bring lasting peace. If only they knew what was coming. Remember, we're maintenance workers, Binko said as their disguised ship docked. Keep your heads down and your mouths shut. Hai's expanded team moved through the station's service corridors. Along with her original crew, she now had been Ko, Kestar, Nira, and Grak. Each of them carried hidden weapons and burning determination to stop the Covenant. The ceremony starts in 1 hour, Jin whispered, checking his portable scanner. Detecting at least 20 armed individuals who aren't supposed to be here. Sleeper agents, Na said grimly. They've been planted among the security staff. Through a ventilation grate, they could see the main assembly hall. Delegates from dozens of species sat together, discussing the future of galactic peace. Cathara Prime Minister sat next to human diplomats. Zalani officials shared jokes with Mortek representatives. Look at them, Beltar said softly. They trust each other completely. Which makes them perfect targets, Hai replied sadly. Suddenly, the lights in the assembly hall dimmed. The ceremony was beginning. On the main stage, Admiral Han appeared in his dress uniform, representing the coalition military. Distinguished delegates, Han's voice echoed through the hall. Today marks a new chapter for our galaxy. That's our signal, Hai said. Move. Chaos erupted as disguised security guards throughout the hall drew weapons. But Hai's team was ready. Binko took down 2 assassins near the Zalani delegation. Kestar used his knowledge of the station's layout to cut off escape routes. Nira and Grak protected the terrified delegates, shouting warnings in multiple languages. Everyone get down. Na yelled, her weapon blazing as she fought through the crowd in the confusion. Hai made her way to the stage where Han waited. Her former mentor stood calmly, watching his plan unfold. You're too late, Han said as she approached. My people are already in position. Your people are being arrested by my people, Hai replied, drawing her weapon. Han smiled coldly and drew his own weapon. I taught you everything you know about combat. Hai, you cannot defeat me. Their weapons clashed in a deadly dance across the stage. Han was stronger and more experienced, but Hai fought with the desperation of someone protecting. Innocent lives. You were my teacher, Hai said, blocking one of his strikes, but you taught me the wrong lesson. What lesson is that? Han demanded, pressing his attack. You taught me that strength comes from dominating others, Hai replied, dodging and counterattacking. But real strength comes from protecting them. Round them, the battle raged. But Hai's diverse team was winning. Species that had never worked together before were now fighting side by side against the Covenant assassins. Han looked around at his failing plan. This changes nothing. Humanity will rule. No, Hai said, finally gaining the upper hand. Humanity will serve. 3 weeks after the failed assassination attempt, the galaxy was still reeling from the truth. News broadcasts showed Admiral Han and dozens of Covenant members in prison cells. The evidence Jin had gathered was broadcast on every channel, showing exactly how the conspiracy had manipulated the war. Some humans call us heroes, Veltar said, watching the news in their ship's common room. Others call us traitors to our own species, Goodhai replied. If human supremacists hate us, we're doing something right. The peace summit had been rescheduled, with much tighter security. This time, when the delegates gathered, they knew exactly who they could trust. Hai's mixed species team stood guard. As the Galactic Accords were finally signed, the galaxy owes you a debt, the Cathara Prime Minister told Hai after the ceremony. Your actions showed us that humans can be trusted.
Oh, not all humans,
Hai replied honestly. But enough of us. The new Galactic Accords included protections none of them had thought necessary before. Mixed species oversight committees would monitor military communications. No single species could make major decisions without approval from others. Most importantly, there would be an independent security force to investigate corruption. Captain Kim came a formal voice behind her. She turned to see Admiral Park Jun, the new head of Coalition Command. The Council has authorized me to offer you a promotion? What kind of promotion? Director of Galactic Security, Admiral Park said. Your own fleet, unlimited resources, authority across all Coalition space. It was everything Hai had ever dreamed of. Command of her own operation, the power to make real change, respect from the entire galaxy. I'm honored, she said slowly. But I have to decline. Admiral Park looked surprised. May I ask why? Hai looked at her team scattered around the station. Jin was teaching a young Zalani how to decrypt enemy communications. Na was sharing combat techniques with Mortec soldiers. Binko was telling war stories to anyone who would listen, while Kestar, Nira, and Grak planned their next mission. Because the job isn't finished, she said. The Covenant had cells in dozens of systems. There are still war criminals out there, still people who profited from suffering. The regular security forces can handle that. No, Hai said firmly. They need people who understand how deep this corruption goes. They need hunters. Later, aboard their ship as they prepared to leave, Jin asked the question everyone was thinking. So, what now, Captain? Hai studied the star chart showing their next destination. Intelligence suggested a former Covenant financier was hiding in the Outer Rim, still moving money to terrorist groups. "Now we do what we do best," she said. "There are still Covenant cells out there, still people who think they can profit from war and suffering, and we're going to find every last one." The ship turned toward the dark space beyond the galaxy's edge, where criminals thought they could hide, but they were wrong. High's team was coming for them. The hunt continued across the stars,